Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sake Tsungpong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubdun Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening. From the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds, Padma Kumara. Sumu, Tansan Gatso, Dubdun Siti, Dubdun Kama. All Dharma masters, Dharma lecturers, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma teaching assistants, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, how do you do?
Hola amigo, te quiero mucho. Scoin, 이지바, 김어지, 지우미, 야비, 뿌링뿌링. こんばんは。现在呢
Now,
上了法座
be seated on this Dharma throne. I was thinking originally this afternoon,
问完事以后
after giving spiritual consultation, I stayed in my own room.
想说这种天气
In this kind of weather, I was thinking
棉被里面却是最舒服
it's most comfortable to be inside or under the blanket
睡一睡
and have a
到
nap
了晚上上法座的时候大概可以不必睡
that I don't have to nap on the Dharma throne.
我居然问完事3点半一直睡到5点
And after her spiritual consultation, I slept from 3:30 to 5:30.
2个小时
How many hours was that?
应该晚
2
上
hours.
精神会很好
So I should be very awake at night. But as soon as I get to this Dharma throne, I was hanging my head.
想想什么原因呢？每一次
And
6晚上做3
what's the reason every Saturday night to be seated on this Dharma throne? I would be nodding my head or falling asleep, drowsing. What's going on with this Dharma throne?
这法座有问题，这个
Something wrong with this Dharma
一
throne.
定是有人做杠头，
Someone must have cast a magic spell.
真的，一坐上来，
It's a sleeping
昏
spell.
沉沉，
As soon as I'm seated here, I would be drowsy.
2个小时
I have slept for 2 hours in the afternoon, and
还
yet
是一样会有
in
瞌
the
睡，
evening I still felt drowsy.
实在不相信，不信也得信。
I just can't believe it, but I have to believe it.
干脆
So,
摆一张床算，
like I often said, might as well put a bed here, and then with a pillow and a
还
blanket,
在讲，
and then I would teach after I wake up.
我觉得自己 好像年纪大，
I find myself
以前不会这样，
and
以前
at old age. That's a sign of old age. It didn't happen before.
白天也睡，晚上我
At
也
old
很好睡，
age, I sleep in the daytime and I sleep really well, or I sleep soundly at
大概
night.
做
After getting home, after performing my practices
还有做一些
and
事情，
yoga and
差不多都2点，
a few
2
cleaning
点
up,
才睡。
I would go to bed at 2 a.m.
但是一样也是一睡就到天亮，
But I would sleep through the night till
越来越
the
长。
next morning. So I sleep more and
终
more
于一天
nowadays. And
会
then
一
one
睡
day
不起，
I would sleep and never
那就
wake
天
up.
下太平，
And then there would be peace on earth. No more anything. No.
但是说法还是蛮清醒的。
But in giving Dharma teaching, I'm fully awake. I knew what we are practicing
这个
today.
莲花童子
Padma Kumara,
不会搞错，
I did not make a mistake.
先讲个笑话吧。
Let me share a joke first.
小的时候，
When I was
我们
little,
写作文都会写我的志愿。
in our writing essays, we would always say about my aspiration when the teacher asks us.
说题目出了就是我的志愿。
And the topic is my aspiration.
我小时候啊，心目中
When I
老
was
师是最
young,
伟大的，
in my heart, the teachers are the greatest, and I was most scared of the
所
teachers.
以我的志愿大部分都是当老师。
So my aspiration generally is to be a teacher.
要当老师，
My aspiration is I want to be a
因为当
teacher
老师很威风，
because they're very grand and they can use the rattan rod. Because back then you can educate by beating and scolding if you are
这
disobedient.
里啊，有的想当运动员，
Some wants to
有的
be an
想当太
athlete.
空人，
Some wants to be
还
an
有很多人
astronaut.
的志愿都是要当总统。
And many people aspire to become a president.
现在长大了才知道，
Once you grow up, you know
有一个东西很重要。
there's one thing that's very important.
所以现在的新的我的志愿是，我要
So
当富二代。
my new aspiration is to become the
以前从来
children,
没有人想过
the child
我
of
现在
a
志愿要当
rich
富二代，
family.
现在不一样。
Nobody would write that in the past, but now, yes. 有一个年轻人到山上，看到了这个 A young
和尚。
man went up the mountain to see an
年
old
轻
monk,
人问老和尚：
and the young
你
man
对你们
asked
这个现在的
the old
艺人
monk,，
艺人就是演艺人员，
for
常常
celebrities,
又结
they
婚了，
get divorced frequently and get married again.
师
What
父
do you
指
think?
着树上的鸟说：
And then the
Come
master
up,
pointed to the
Ichimimba.
birds on the trees. Look at them, and you'd understand.
年轻人讲，
And the young man
师父的
said,
意思是
Oh,
说，
did you
爱情
mean
的意义就像这只
the
鸟，
meaning of love is like the
看起来
bird?
平淡无奇，
They look
只要
very
展开双翅
peaceful, and normal, but as soon as they flap their wings, they can fly into the boundless sky. And the master said, no. What business is yours that others are getting divorced? There's a car that passed by a small village and ran over a duck until it's flat. And the driver picked it up. Actually, it's a chicken. And then asked a young boy, did this belong to you? No, because my chicken look exactly, and the color look exactly the same, but it's not flat. So today, the male colleague and female colleague are working together and chatting. And the male colleague saw her hand to be really fair and white and praised her. And then she said, oh, there are other parts that's even fairer. Would you like to see? And the male colleague was really excited and his heartbeats sped up. And she opened her mouth and showed him her teeth. Sometimes the jokes that they give me are not jokes that I like to tell. Some are funny, some are not funny. Sometimes I can't even laugh at it. But because someone gave me the joke, so I should share a few at least. Now, let's talk about the main topic. Question from Malaysia. How do you pronounce this character? How do you pronounce this?
3点水，上面一个日，底下一个天。这个是稀有文字。
This is a very rare character
马来西亚
from Malaysia.
如果要读边，没有边，读上面是日，读下面是天，到底要读什么？啊？
How you pronounce it as how?
3点水，那上面一个日，下面一个天，读是号。台湾话的在考莲花楚天，楚号。我学这个华语啊，应该是算是最多的。
I've learned the most.
字叫什么意思？
I know the most Chinese, but I don't know about this character. It's very rare. What does it mean?
水晶呐，水很清呐。
It's like
水很清就是莲花楚清吧。
a clear, quiet water.
水很清。 他说顶礼师佛，弟子在念诵。
So, prostration to Guru Buddha. While reciting the verses of the chapter on Samantabhadra's conduct and vows, or acting on his vows, I deeply felt the profound and moving nature of its content. I believe that contemplating its meaning during the dedication of merits and making vows would be even more meaningful. The sutra states, when such a person is nearing the end of life at the final moment, all their faculties will disintegrate, all relatives will depart, power and influence will vanish. Ministers, advisors, the inner palace and outer city, elephants, horses, carriages, treasures, and stored wealth, none of this will accompany them. At that time, guiding them forward in an instant, they will be reborn in the pure land of utmost bliss. Surrounded by lotus flowers, they will see themselves born within the lotus and receive a prophecy of Buddhahood. It also states, after receiving this prophecy for countless hundreds of thousands of millions of nayudas of kalpas, they will fulfill the needs of all beings in indescribable and inconceivable worlds in the 10 directions, using the power of wisdom to benefit them. Soon they will sit upon the Bodhi throne and subdue the armies of Mara. And furthermore, it says, therefore, if a person recites these vows, they will move through the world without hindrance. Your disciple feel a deep yearning for this and wish to generate the great body mind through the power of these vows. Although I have lots of time for personal practice, I dare not modify the sadhana without your permission. So I respectfully request for your guidance. May I add the recitation of this verse of Samantabhadra's acting on his vows during the merit dedication to increase my merit? Please advise. Endless gratitude. So Samantabhadra Bodhisattva has 10 vows. One is to pay homage to all the Buddhas, and fourth, to repent the Bhadra, and then to generate merit, to pray for the Buddha to stay in samsara, to complete, to follow the Buddhas, and to praise the Tathagatas, to make abundant offerings, to rejoice in the merit of others, and to request the Buddha to remain in the world, and to turn the Dhamma wheel, and to always follow the teachings of the Buddhas, and to fulfill the wish, the needs of sentient beings, and dedicate the merits to all sentient beings. The 10 great vows of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. So if you want to add this verse of Samantabhadra's acting on his vows, of course you can. So what is the sadhana or practice procedure? It's the steps of our spiritual cultivation or Dhamma practices. But for the merit dedication, how much more or how much less or however you want to merit dedication, you can do so. You don't have to follow exactly the words. May all uphold the Buddha, ascend to the realm atmosphere, repaying for full generosity from above, aiding those in the 3 realms below. Upon seeing the Buddha, may we transcend life and death like the Buddha, may we liberate all. That's to go to Sukhavati. And you can add this, especially in the sutra, it states these benefits. And in your heart, you like to add this? Is it okay? You add it to your own sadhana, your own chanting, that would be fine. For the merit dedication, you can do so. Just remember the principles at the beginning part of the practice, the main part, and the ending part. The beginning part is usually the same. Visualization, chanting mantra. Oh no, the main part involves the visualization, chanting mantra, forming mudra, entering samadhi. And the beginning part is great prostration, great offering, fourfold refuge, or four immeasurables. But the main part is the most important. The ending part is merit dedication. And whether you want to add something or subtract something, it's all fine. It's up to you, whatever you like. It's okay if you want to add something. The key point is do not mess it up. First you visualize, form the mudra. After you finish your visualization, you chant mantras to stabilize or strengthen it. And then you enter samadhi. And you do quiet contemplation. So first you visualize and then chant the mantra and then enter samadhi. Those are the steps in the main part of the practice. And for the ending part, especially during the merit dedication, you can do as you like. I don't want to go to the western pure line of Sukhavati. I want to go to the eastern pure line of Lapis Lazuli light. That's fine. Or you want to go to Akshobhya Buddha's pure line, Abhirati. That's fine. Or you can dedicate the merit to go to the Buddhaverse of omnifragrance. No, you don't have to go to Sukhavati. You can chant whichever pure land you like to go. If you like the Pottaloka pure land of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, then you can dedicate the merit that. So, in my opinion, for merit dedication, you can do as you like. You can add or subtract. Let me check if my answer was correct or not. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas said that's correct. Just make sure that the key points are correct. So let's say you're on a plane and performing the great prostration, everybody is seated and then you're performing it on the aisles, then that's not right. Then at such a time, it's okay not to do the beginning part, or you use the visualization if you have time. So in some situations, you can just do the main part, say on the plane. When Grandmaster gets on the plane, first I would practice the main part of the Yidam practice, Yidam yoga. And once I'm in union with the Yidam, it doesn't matter how the plane flies. It's none of our control. It's the business of the pilots. I would not be concerned about how the plane is doing. As soon as I get on the plane, I would be in union with the Yidam. If suddenly the plane has something wrong with the plane, in the split second you would go to the pure line of the Yidam. You're already in union with the Yidam. Some people have a flight paranoia. supporting paranoia, they would tremble as soon as get on the plane, but not for me. I would be at peace and at ease because I've done my practice and already in union with the deity. So it doesn't matter what will happen. I don't care. Because for a human being, you will die sooner or later, just like when you're on the phone. It's either you hang up first or I hang up first. It's no big deal to die. If it's time to die, you'll die. There's nothing to be afraid of. So even if you live through it, you'll just live through for a few more years. Like that movie, Nacha. My life is in my control and not by the heavens or destiny, because they are sage. So I can control my own life and death. They can be in control. So if you cultivate until you reach the realm of the sagehood, then you can say that my life is in my control, not in the control of faith or destiny. So only someone that has reached sagehood can make such a statement. They can be or do whatever they like. So the answer to Lian Hua Chu Hao from Malaysia. Now I remember this character. It's my first time I saw this character, Chinese character. How? In Chinese, in Taiwanese, it would be cow, and that's kind of that's a curse word. Not really a bad one. The husband and the wife were fighting, and the wife was really angry. Get your things out and stay far away. And the husband got a quick idea, and then he grabbed the wife and then ran away. And the wife said, "Put me down, I'm not things." There's a saying that if you have fair skin, then it would cover your three shortcomings. But if you're heavy, then all your good parts are gone. S. Now I know. No, this is like S meaning slim. M is beautiful. L is this is with Chinese. You know the figure of Hui Jun's is round. And the people's figure is typically long, but she's round.
等一下会讲到佛的32相。
And in a while, we'll talk about the 32 hallmarks of the Buddha,
我们人每一
or
个人的
32
脚，
marks of perfection.
脚丫子不是有这个吗？
Our
对不
feet
对？
always have that arch, right?
它是扁
At
平
the
的。
soles, but her soles are completely flat.
台湾话叫阿波卡德，阿
In
波卡德，
Taiwanese, we say
它居然没有那个凹。我们 不
abukate.
管如何都有一个凹嘛，对不
No
对？
arches
这样
at
凹
all,
过来啊，脚底都有一
right?
个
At
凹嘛。
at
它不是，它是平
our
的，
sole, but not hers. Hers is
就走路
completely
就像鸭
flat.
子一样，
So she walked like a
而且
duck,
又是圆的。
and she's round.
有一次坐车啊，我们大家坐车坐在一起出去，
One time
车门打开，
we were on a
它差点
car,
掉下来，掉到地板上。
and the car door opened, and she almost fell off
因为你掉上
the
地上，
car.
还是
And
会
I
弹
said,
回来。
"It's okay, don't worry. If you fall to the ground, you would bounce back because it's like a
他
balloon."
有一次跟师母两个人啊，在衣橱间，衣
One
橱间不是很大，玄关。
There was like on the
他
porch.
穿鞋子的时候，他
They were
蹲下来
all wearing their
师母蹲下来，他也蹲
shoes,
下来，
and they were
结果
like
他的屁股碰到
looking
师母的
down,
屁股，
and then her
师母
behind
马上
bumped into Simu's behind, and then
变成一个壁虎，
pushed Simu to the wall
贴在墙上，然后掉下来。
like a lizard, like a wall lizard, and then falling to the ground. So she was quite bouncy.
哎，胖也有胖的好处。
So their benefit of being round.
好，我们讲这个《楞严经》。
Now let's expound on the Surangama
佛
Sutra.
告阿难：
The Buddha said to Ananda,
你我同气，情
"You
均
and I share the same breath. Our
释
bond
迦牟尼佛告诉
is
阿
as
难
close as that of family."
你我同气。什么叫同气？
So
我们
the
常常
Buddha
讲一
said
句
to
话
Ananda,
同
"What is
气
sharing the same breath?" We often say this
同样的祖先，
came
那
from
时
the
候释
same
迦牟尼佛
source or
是净
ancestor.
饭王的这个王子嘛，啊，他是净饭
So
王。
Sakyamuni Buddha was the prince of King Suddhodana. There were several kings there,
跟着释迦牟
and
尼
there
佛
were 8
这些
princesses,
王子
8
大部分就
princesses
跟释迦牟尼佛
who followed Sakyamuni Buddha to
他们国王
be
有
ordained to
净饭王、
become
白
monks.
饭王啊、绿饭王。
This is playful of Chinese. Because in Chinese, Suddhodana sounds like
王，
like a white
那个
white
国王的国王，净
rice king
那
or
个
green
释迦
rice
牟尼
king.
佛的这个父亲就是净饭王，
So the father of Sakyamuni Buddha is
阿
Suddhodana,
难也是。
and
阿难他的
Ananda
那个他的父亲也是一个王，不知道是什么王，我忘掉。白饭王，白
and
色的饭，
Ananda's father was also a king,
绿色的饭，
the white king or green
不知
king.
道，是国王的王。祖先是同样的，
So they
祖先
had
辈都是同
the
样
same ancestor.
因为这个阿难尊者是释迦牟尼佛的堂弟嘛，堂弟嘛。
Because Ananda was a paternal cousin of Sakyamuni
阿难是
Buddha.
白饭王的弟子的儿子，白饭王。这很奇怪，
He was the younger brother of King Suddhodana,
这是红饭呢，
the king of Amdrodana.
有八个
But
八
in
个王
Chinese,
八个王
it
子
can
跟着释迦牟尼
be
佛
played
阿难
with
是其中
homophone.
他们也是那个王，也是同一个祖先。
So of the 8 princes who became monks, Ananda was one of them.
祖先同辈，
So they were the same generation from the same ancestor. So they had some bond, familial bond, like brothers. So when you first resolve to follow the path, what extraordinary aspect of my teachings did you see that made you suddenly renounce the deep attachment and worldly affections? So back then, you wanted to become a monk and resolved to follow the Buddha's path. What did you see that you wanted to become a monk? What's so special that you felt that suddenly you wanted to become ordained as a prince? It's not easy. So what have you seen? Anything extraordinary that you suddenly felt wanted to renunciate and let go all worldly things, wealth, sensual pleasures or beauties, and name, like as a prince, you let go of all those. So all the attachments and affections of the world and became ordained to cultivate spiritually. The same with Sakyamuni Buddha. When he was prince, he had the queen and many concubines and consorts, and he cut off all those affections and became a monk. And Ananda replied to the Buddha, I saw the Tathagata's 32 hallmarks. He saw how Sakyamuni Buddha looked. That's the 32 marks of perfection of the Buddha and the 80 secondary marks of perfect conducts. Are the 32 hallmarks, many of them, as I said, and they include, what do they include? What Huijin Sansis have, flat soles. The souls of the Buddha are also flat. It's one of the 32 hallmarks. So Huijin has spiritual root. Not just sits round, her feet are flat. It can be flat on the ground, but most of our feet have some arch. But her feet are flat. So most important marks of the 32 hallmarks are flat soles, and then there is the marks of Dharma wheel on the soles and flat soles. That's one of the 32 hallmarks. And when you stand up and hanging your arms, the two hands are below the knees. Anyone can do that? Can be like that?
有没有人手超过膝盖？手很长，
Anyone have such
超
a
过
mark?
膝盖的，这是32项当中其中的一项。
That's one of the 32
释迦牟
hallmarks.
尼佛的手很长，
Sakyamuni Buddha's arms are very long, hanging below the knees.
还有一点，
And one more,
头上有个肉髻，
there is a head bump on top of the
有个
head,
肉髻，头上有肉髻，
a flesh,
这里
protruding flesh, Ushnisha. All of a sudden, there's a bump,
如果是
like a
现在的
protruding
头上有一个肉髻，
flesh.
这身体
But
有头上
people nowadays, we would say they have
头上
tumor.
长瘤，这连满上师的侄子吧？
Was it Master Lianman's nephew
他头上有一个肉髻，
who had the
那参加我那个
tumor
香港大
on
主
his head? And he
那法会
attended
那个肉
my
髻
ceremony in the stadium in Hong Kong, and the
当天就
tumor
消失了。
disappeared on that day.
那是肉瘤，不是肉髻。
But that's a tumor growth, not Ushnisha.
这是32项，
That's one of the 32 hallmarks.
上面头上都有一个
All Buddhas have that
那个就是肉
protruding
髻
flesh.
圆圆的，那个就是肉
That's
髻。
called Ushnisha,
释迦牟尼佛也
head
有。
bump. Sakyamuni Buddha
另外
too had that.
广长舌相，
And the next one is the
广长
long
舌相
and
是什么相啊
broad
？32项当中一
tongue.
种，广长舌相。
What is
舌头
that?
伸出来，
When he extended his tongue, it would cover the whole face.
那个叫广长舌相。现在哪里有一个人
That's the
舌
mark
头伸
of
出
the
来可以把脸
tongue.
盖住的？
Is there anyone that has that nowadays that can cover the whole face?
真的是32项其中有一个广长舌相。
So one of the 32
另外，
hallmarks is that
双
broad and
耳
long
垂
tongue.
肩，
And another one
他
is
的耳朵
the earlobes
不是小
touching
耳
the
朵，
shoulder.
像老鼠一样，
It's not
已
tiny
经很大就
earlobes,
可以双耳垂肩。
but if you pull them often, then
这
they would
耳
reach
朵
your
的下
shoulder.
垂，肉就会长
shoulders.
出来。然后这个肉呢，比这个嘴的这一条线还要
So
低的，
the earlobes are below
就叫双耳
the
垂肩。
the
你的
lips.
耳朵底下
That's
超过你的嘴
called
巴，
that's called the
嘴巴的
earlobes
部分
reaching
其实
the shoulders. Anyone? Raise your hand if you have that.
这个耳朵的长度已经超过你这个嘴巴，这嘴底下，那也是32项之一。你看，
That's also one of the 32 hallmarks.
哦，
The earlobes of the Buddhas are all very long, very huge.
那是32项。
That's the 32
他说那个
hallmarks.
阿难就讲嘛，
So
我看到
Ananda
释迦牟
said,
尼佛的32项，
I saw the 32 hallmarks
圣
of
妙
perfection of Sakyamuni Buddha.
很少人有，
They are
相貌
supreme,
非常的好，
very rare,
超
very
过别人
exquisite,
妙，非常的微妙，
and
殊
exceeding everybody else.
绝，
So
没有人这样
marvelous,
子的相貌，没有。
very extraordinary, and nobody else,
形
and
体莹
unique.
澈
Nobody else
犹
has
如
it.
琉璃，他的身
And
体
your form is radiant and
皮肤啊
translucent
怎
like
样
lapis
非
lazuli.
常的亮，
So the
跟
skin,
琉
the
璃一样，
body are very
琉璃
luminous
现在
or
专门
radiant
做琉璃
like lapis lazuli.
这个
Nowadays, people especially
很多种颜色，
make lapis lazuli in many different colors.
就是黄金色的、金色的
His
琉璃，
body is
黄金
golden,
色。释迦牟尼佛
golden lapis lazuli.
是他的身体啊，
Sakyamuni Buddha's body
是紫金色的，是
is purple golden, very bright and brilliant. So we call it a golden body. Golden body, radiant and bright. That's also part of the ritual hallmarks, like lapis lazuli, translucent and luminous. So Ananda often reflected that such hallmarks cannot arise from desire and attachment or general mundane beings who are born from desire and love. So we are all born from the love and desire of our parents. So why is it that way? Why is it so? Because the energy of desire is coarse and impure. So the qi or the aura, the subtle energy of mundane beings are really not that great. Sometimes they have bad breath, very turbid, very foul, and their tears are like urine, and their mucus would flow, and then the saliva is you would drool when sleeping. That's yucky. And then dandruff on their heads or hair, all dirty stuff, a dirty smell, and things excreted from the skin pores or from armpits. When I was young and I was short, and then in the public bus, and they would hold on the bus, would hold, and that's body odor, or someone coming in for spiritual contemplation, and they took off the shoes, they take off the shoes, and the stinky smell. The whole room was filled with it. Or if you don't launder your clothes also. When a human is still alive, it's not that bad, but once you die, that would be even worse and horrible. We had the forensic doctor called Yang Le-sung in Taiwan. He studied in Japan, a forensic doctor. I think he had to check how someone died. So he just dipped the water of the corpse and then licked it with his tongue, and he would know immediately how they died. That was really foul smelling. So Yang Le-sung always dip his finger or touch the finger in the water from the corpse and to find out what had happened. So he was very responsible and dutiful. So he would know that someone was poisoned and what kind of poison was used. And he would know by smelling the odor of the corpse, and that was very repulsive and very dirty. And finally, he got the marks of like corpses
很恐怖的。
It was quite scary.
他说这个人体一般俗气，世间的人的气很污浊，
Humans,
而且
the physical bodies of general mundane beings are very dirty,
你真的开刀医生你就知道了，
coarse and impure, foul and repulsive,
里面流脓
mingled with pus and blood.
那个味道真的是不是
You know, surgeons would know.
那个脓血
Inflame and
不
pus
能
and
发
blood.
生圣妙妙
It cannot give rise to such a supreme, pure, wondrous, and radiant
非常
gathering
的
of
清
golden
净，
light.
非
Because
常的透
Sakyamuni
明，
Buddha's body is very
而且像
pure,
紫金的光一样
translucent,
闪亮发亮，
and it's radiant like the purple golden light.
因为看到这个是以
That's how Sakyamuni Buddha looked.
因为看到这个，所以他非常的渴望，他自己的身体也会变成
Because he saw that, he
像释迦牟
longed
尼佛一样，
to have his body to be like Sakyamuni Buddha, endowed with 32 hallmarks. So he resolved to
这样
renounce
出家，
the worldly life and
看
became
到
a
释迦
monk.
牟尼佛的32相，
So
那个
Ananda
紫金光
was ordained because he saw the 32 hallmarks of Sakyamuni Buddha,
发着光明，
the golden purple light, translucent, radiant, luminous body,
世间没有。
and with
看到他的
exquisite,
相以后，他决
magnificent
定跟着
looks
释迦牟尼佛出家。
that's unique and cannot be found in the world.
请
So
释迦
by
牟尼
seeing
佛他就
that,
出家。
he followed the footsteps of the Buddha and asked Sakyamuni Buddha to ordain him.
再讲下去。
Should I continue?
然后呢，佛言，释迦牟尼佛就讲，
And then the
善哉
Buddha
阿难，
said,
很好，
Excellent Ananda,
阿难尊者，你当知啊，你等当知，
the
一切
Venerable
众生
Ananda,
从无始来，
you all must
生死
understand that
相
all sentient
皆
beings,
有
since
不知
time without
常住
beginning,
真心，
have been bound by the
性
cycle of
尽
birth and death, all because they do not recognize the
他
ever
是讲
abiding true mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature. Sakyamuni Buddha said, Ananda, you
你
said it
们
very
应
well.
该要知道，所有
You
一切的
all
众
should
生
know that all
从开
sentient
始以
beings,
来，
since
好多事，生死
time
相续，
without
又是
beginning,
生又是死，又
have
是
been
生又是
bound
死，
by the
始
cycle
终
of
离
birth
不开
and
轮
death,
回，
the rebirth cycle,
这都
cannot
是因为
leave
是
behind
常住真心，
samsara. It's all
性
because
尽
they
离
do
体，
not recognize the
不
ever
知道自己
abiding
本
true
身的
mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature.
有常住真心，
They do not know that they have this ever
有佛性
abiding
呐。
true mind.
这里
That's
讲
Buddha
所
nature.
谓佛性，这个人呐、他本身他不知道
Humans do
他
not
自己身
know
体
that
里面有
inside their
佛的
bodies
佛性在，
they have Buddha
那
nature
就
in
是
it,
常住真心，
and that is ever
永远
abiding
都在
true
的
mind,
佛性，
the eternally
因为人
abiding
不知
Buddha
道他
nature.
有永远的佛性，
Humans do not know
他
that
的
they
本
have
来
the
的佛性
eternal Buddha
是
nature,
清净的，是
and
光
this
明的，
original Buddha nature is pure
是清净
and
光明的，
bright,
一点污染都没有的，
immaculate without any impurities at all,
用诸妄想，
radiant body.
其实脑袋里面所想的，
They rely
全部都是
on
一些妄念，
random
念头都是不
thoughts,
正确的，都是妄念。
deluded thoughts. What we think are all not correct.
慈想不
They are
正，
all called
你所有的
random
妄念都不
wandering
是真实的。
thoughts. So all
只
your
有一个
thoughts are not the
真
truth.
心性净明体是真实的，其他都不是真
Only
实的。
the inherently pure and luminous nature is the truth,
所以才会
is
有
real, and the rest are
为什么
not
人类
real. That's
这一
why
次转了，又转
there
世
is
到另外一个
samsara.
地方，又转世到另外一个地
So
方，
why a
转来
human
转
would
去，
be
在六道
reincarnated
之
to
中，
another
一直在
place and
北上北转。
continually cycling in
主
this
要
rebirth
是
cycle
你没有
and
看到
unable
自己的
to be liberated from it?
明
That's because you have not
真性，
seen your
不
own
知道自己有佛性，只
radiant
是一天到晚在
nature
想念那个不
of
真实
body
的这
that
些。
you do not know you have Buddha
像
nature,
我们人
and
本
you
身的
keep
欲望
thinking
啊，
about
有
everything
财啊，
that's not
色
real.
啊，名啊，
Our
食
desires
啊，
is about
睡啊，
money, wealth,
这5个大的
sex,
欲望，
food,
每天就是在那边。
fame, and sleep.
所以那这些都不是真的，
These are the 5 major desires, and they are not real.
所以一
But
直在
every
轮，一直
day
在
you're
轮
just
回。
bound by
这
them.
世完了，
That's
又
why
轮回到
humans
下
are
一世，下一
always
世完了，又轮回到
cycling
下一
in the rebirth
世，一直轮
cycle.
回，一直没有停
After
止。
this life, another lifetime, another lifetime, endlessly.
如今欲愿无上菩提真发，
Now that you seek to study
你
the
今天呢，
unsurpassed Bodhi,
想要知道
today
要如何解脱，
you
无上
want to know
没有比
how
这
to
个
be
更好
liberated. There is
的解
nothing
脱，
better than
真
this.
发明性。
To be
你要懂得
liberated, to truly
这个
awaken
光明
the,
的
your
体，
intrinsic nature,
啊，
to
懂得你原来
understand
的佛
about
性，
the
应
luminous
当实
body,
心
your original Buddha
求
nature.
我，
So you
求
must
我懂，
answer my questions
你应该
with a straightforward
直
and
接就
sincere
回答我。
mind. You should
我要
answer
问你
directly.
话，
I will
你
ask you
要直接回答
questions,
我。
and you must
应
answer
当直心求
directly.
我所问，求就是回答，回答我，回答我释迦牟尼佛。你要直接明白的讲给我听，我问你什
So
么，你就讲。
whatever questions I ask, you must answer it with the
十
straightforward
方如
and
来同一道
honest
故，
mind.
所有的十方如来，所有的
All
佛，
Buddhas of the 10
十方
directions,
佛，十
or
方法，十
Tathagatas,
方僧，十方的如来，
all the
如来就
Buddhas,
是
Dharma, and Sangha of the 10
十方如
directions.
来，
So
各地方的如来，
Tathagatas are
同
the
一
same
道，
as Buddhas,
就是同一个
follow the single
修
path.
同样一个法，
They all practice the same
同一
Dharma,
个明白
the
自己
same
的真心，
understanding their own
明
true
白自
mind,
己的佛性，
understand their
出
own
离
Buddha
生死，
nature.
离开轮回啊，离开轮回，
To be
借以
liberated
直
from
行，
birth and death, to transcend
全
birth
部
and
都是
death,
由这个
to be liberated from samsara. And it is
真
through
心明
direct
体才
mind.
成就的，就是
They have
直
attainment
直心，
through
心
the
念直故，因为啊，那是真实
straight
的，
mind,
直就是真实的，
or the pure and
心是
luminous
真实的，
nature,
佛性是真实的，因为这样
because the Buddha
如
nature
是
and the
乃
mind
至
are
始
real,
终地位，中间永无诸伪其相。
because their minds and words
他
are
们走的
straight
并不是弯
from
弯
the
曲
very
曲的
beginning to
道
the final states. There is
不是
never
弯弯
any
曲曲，
deviation or distortion in the path.
因为
So
直
their
心成
path
佛，
is completely straight. There is
就一
no
条路，
detour or roundabouts
十
or
方如来
curving
走同一
path.
条路，
They all walk
同一个法，
the same path, one
直接
path,
就成佛。
one
他
Dharma,
们并没有
and
走到
attaining
旁边
Buddhahood
走，
directly.
或者
They do
哪
not
个地
get
方
off track or
没有
go to
弯弯
other
曲曲，
places and not twisting
中
and
间
turning
永无诸伪曲相，没有，
without any deviation or distortion in their
这
path.
是讲这一段，从这里一直
So
讲到这里，
this passage
都是直心，
from here to here,
直心是可以
straight
讲是真实
mind
心的，
we can say that straight
他们
mind
认明了这个真
is
实
the
性
true mind.
能够解脱真实
So they clearly
而
recognize
在
this
这当
true
中没
mind
有走的弯
that
弯
can
曲曲
transcend birth and death. And the path is straight, no twisting
这
and
释迦牟尼佛
turnings.
讲的。
That's spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha.
明天再讲。
And tomorrow we will
我
continue.
告诉你，这里啊，
Let me tell you
后
here,
来讲的，他是讲到心的问题，
they would talk about the
讲到这个
mind.
心的问题。达摩祖师以前遇到神光嘛，对不对？神光第一
Dhammo
个去
Buddha
救达摩
Dhamma
祖师的，
first encountered Sun Guang. Sun Guang was the first
去救
one
达摩祖师
to
啊。
seek Bodhidharma,
神
right?
光跟达摩祖师，他讲说，
And Sun Guang told Bodhidharma,
那个我的心呐、不安，
I have no peace in my mind or heart
达摩
mind.
祖师就跟他
And
讲，
Bodhidharma asked him,
那个，那你把心拿出来，我
so
来帮你安。
I would give you peace if you give me your heart and mind.
那神光讲说，
And Sun Guang
你怎么
said,
找也找不到我的
I
心。
cannot find my
那
mind
达摩祖师才回答他，
or my heart. And then Bodhidharma told him that your mind is now at peace.
这里面后来讲了，会谈到这里，
So here,
有点像
later on, it
六
would
祖
talk
坛经
about
里面
this.
的
It's a little bit like the
见达摩
patriarch,
祖师，
Six Patriarchs
他讲说
Platform
我心不
Sutra.
安
When Sun Guang met Bodhidharma, he said, my heart mind is not at
怎么
peace.
找也找不到。
Give me your heart mind, I will give you peace.
然后
I
达
would
摩祖师
pacify
跟他
it.
讲，那你
And
心
he
就
could not find it. Then
既然
Bodhidharma
没有
told him,
心，还要安什么
then
心？
it's already at peace because you don't have any heart mind.
这有
So
点哲学的味道。
what
哲学的味道在里面
what is it that needs to be pacified? That's quite
去买一些
philosophical.
饮料，有一个
One
美女啊
going
点
to
了乌
buy
龙
drinks and
就不知道乌龙绿是
a
什么，
lady, a beautiful
因为我不
lady,
喝茶，
ordered the oolong tea. I don't know what it is. I never drink
乌龙绿茶
teas. It's
有一个
oolong
美女
green
点了
tea.
乌龙绿茶，老板就问他，你要
And
冰
the seller
块吗？
asked, do you want ice on it? And
这个美女回答正常，
then she
老板问
replied,
甜度，
normal. And the
甜度说要
sweetness,
放多少糖嘛，对不对？
like how much
美女
sugar?
跟
And
我
she
一样
said,
甜，
as sweet as I am.
老板就喊
And the
10
seller
分的
said,
甜，
10
这
parts
时候看到
sugar
这个
or sweetness.
后面这个他的一个男的了，
And then there's a
看到我的
man,
时候跟他点的是一样，
and the man said,
他也点
I like to have
乌
the
龙绿
same
茶，
one. So oolong green tea
冰块呢正常。
and ice normal.
老板又问他甜度呢，
And how about the sweetness?
这个男的微微一笑，跟我一样甜。
He smiled and said, as sweet as I am.
就
So the
看
seller
他一眼，转头对
just
服务员讲，
looked at him a
这
little
个乌
and
龙
turned
绿
around and
乌龙
told
绿茶没有糖的一
oolong
杯，
tea without any sugar,
一点都不甜。
not sweet at all.
男的还有什么甜？
How could a man be sweet?
男的应该咸吧？
The man should be salty.
有一个年轻人讲，
A young man
碰
said,
到另外一些不良分子，互相看不过眼。那个
meeting
年轻人讲，不
another
要惹
a
我，
bad guy and
好
said,
歹我高中的时候也是个不良少年呢。
don't,
对方讲，
uh,
是哦，有多不良啊？
I'm also a bad guy when I was
发育不
young.
良
So you're not a good guy? How bad are you? I'm only 1.4 meters.
这师尊唯一的遗憾。
My
我
only
以前身高
regret
163呢，我
in
以
the
前身高
past
163呢，
I was
现在
1
去家里
meter
面才158
1.63 meter 163 centimeters, and
是
now
细胞
I'm only 158
还
centimeters.
是老了，这细胞
So the cells
骨
shrink,
头
shrink, the
骨头
bones
缩下来。
shrink.
现在讲，每一次他们讲话都讲，
They always say
喜欢的男朋友都
they
是要
always
高高帅帅的，
they always like their boyfriends to be tall and
说矮矮
handsome.
的不行吗？
And I said, so the short ones are no good?
一定要高高帅帅的吗？
You have to have the tall and handsome one?
现在讲都是高高帅帅的，身材要高，体格要好，又要长得很帅。
So they all want a good body and tall and
没办法，
handsome.
你知道我小时候吃什么吗？
What can I say? You know, when I was little, what I ate?
3条
In my lunches, just 3
中国大陆叫土豆，
potatoes.
我们台湾人叫韩吉，番薯啦。
The Taiwanese
番
would
薯在
say
中国大陆就叫
yams.
土豆，是不是？
In mainland China, they're called sweet
马铃
potatoes.
薯啦，马铃薯，韩吉哥是 potato， 懂吗？这韩吉呀，韩吉嘛是叫做 potato。那个马铃薯就叫
Hanjis are
土豆
called
在中
potatoes.
国大陆就叫土豆，在台湾就叫韩吉。
Hanji in Taiwanese and tuto in
每次
China.
午餐
So every lunch, I have
3条番
three
薯，
three yams. That's all.
然后呢，我小时候小学的时候，
And then in elementary school,
来不及番薯给我，
and if they don't have time to prepare the yams, we would go to the market
粽子、
and would buy me just meatless
花生粽子、花生
or peanuts rice
但是没有
dumpling.
肉的，
No
没
meat.
有肉，菜长，我们叫菜长，
We call
就
it
是
the
菜的粽子。
kind of vegetarian rice dumpling.
菜长。
Have you eaten
台
that?
湾有做那个花生，然后跟
In Taiwan,
跟竹
they
篦
put
做起来一个那个
peanuts
菱形的一个粽子，
and wrap in bamboo leaves. 2
然
of
后
those.
就带便当去学校。
And that's my lunch box. That's what's in my lunch box. To school.
家里没有钱，就吃
My family was poor, had no money. That's all I ate. And of course, this is how tall I grew to be. Didn't have enough
我是不良
nutrients.
少年呢，
So it was not good
我过去是不良少年呢，现在是不
development.
良老人。
So I was a no good youth. Now I'm a no good old man. Oh, Mani Pemi Home.